welcome to Hollywood.
Hello, welcome to the Now TV Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Catherine, and as always, I am joined by Steve.
Hello.
Corey.
Hello.
And Benjamin.
Hello.
I thought I'd go with the long name this time.
Yeah.
See how that went.
Just as badly, probably.
How we all been doing this month? I obviously have a cold with my... I'm hoping it sounds like a Phoebe Buffay sexy cold voice, but I doubt it's going to hit that.
I also have a cold, and I think I've passed the husky, sexy phase and just gone into sounding like the devil.
The devil in South Park, or...?
I don't know, more Exorcist, Pazuzu type deal, I think.
Everyone's got a cold. I don't know how I've avoided it.
Well, you did have one earlier.
I did. Well, maybe I
you
started it. I think I started it. Yeah. Yeah, I too am getting over a cold as well. I don't have that sexy voice or whatever I was doing.
It's good though.
last
You
week.
want to get it out of the way before Christmas, and it's a good time. Good time to get a cold.
Yeah, can't interrupt the dinner.
No, exactly. That's
Yeah.
When it comes to food,
It's
nothing gets
true,
in the way.
It's true. It ruins the whole year. the week that's left.
Right, it's good. And what have you guys been watching this month?
Well, I went to see Blade Runner 2029, which is it always makes me think it sounds like a video game.
2049, no?
It is 40. No,
Is it? I thought it was 29. Let me.
2029.
We can cut this.
I could have sworn it was 49.
49, I think.
We're 50-50.
It is. Yes, correct. Blade Runner 2049.
What did you see, Steve? The
Thank
knockoff
you.
version?
I saw the prequel.
Although maybe they did release all those short films, and I think one of those is 2029.
It's
so
possible.
I think
You
because
did say
they
it's
did
possible.
an anime of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a prequel, wasn't there, starring Jared Leto's character, I think. Yeah, but I really liked it. It was it's a very decent follow-up. I think as far as sequels go, it would be hard to see how it could be any better than it is, because I think it takes the first film, it expands on the themes and sort of develops the characters, and yeah, I really admired it. I think it's also weird to see a film on the big screen that's a sort of massive blockbuster, obviously had a lot of money put into it, but feels more like an art movie. It is the way the pacing of it and the style of it is very different to what you expect to see from a blockbuster these days. So visually, it is absolutely stunning. It's Roger Deakins did the cinematography, and he has to win the Oscar this time. Like if he doesn't, it's never going to happen, because I can't think of another film I've seen recently that's just that visually arresting. And I think in terms of compared to the first film, it's very similar in that. Have you all seen the first film?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think of it sort of generally? Is it a film that you admire, or is it a film you have issues with?
I admire it, and I love watching it. I think there's some brilliant sequences in it. There are obviously problems with it because the time it was made and things like that. And I don't think there's many perfect films in the world, but I still love it and still watch it any given day.
Yeah, I grew up with my brother making me listen to the Vangelis soundtrack and playing it to me all the time, and then every time he would go, "Oh, Blade Runner, do you know there's supposed to be these other versions of it?" and would talk to me all about it, and then we'd get the work print edition, and my entire life has been signposted with moments where my brother has come and spoke to me about new versions of Blade Runner. So yeah, but I still haven't watched it, which is a crime. I haven't seen the second one. But.
Yeah, I'd like to. I definitely will watch it.
Because
the originals, I think I enjoy them. They don't rival up there with my favourite films, but I enjoy it.
Because I think that the issue a lot of people have with the original is that the craft of it is spectacular, and everyone admires the way it was made and the look and the feel of it. But when it comes to character and the plot, it often alienates a lot of people. They feel that it's not very engaging. And I think this follow-up, it may have the same effect on a lot of people. I think it's a very easy film to immerse yourself in terms of the world building and the way it looks. But I think the plot and the characters might leave some people feeling a bit wanting. So yeah, I'd be eager to see what you guys think when you've seen it. But I really, really enjoyed it.
Cool. Ben, what have you been watching?
I have, as it's the month of horror, I've done my yearly watch of Cannibal Holocaust, which I always watch.
I can't watch that film. I don't know how you do that.
I love it. But again, it's one of those movies, I think the soundtrack is probably going to be in the top 5 soundtracks of all time. I think there's so many elements of that movie that I really enjoy watching that, to be honest, now when I watch it, I don't really think about the horrible bits that obviously got it banned for years. Now I kind of just just enjoy it as a kind of piece of cinema and just something so different to what you'll see generally. So I watched that. I watched Aliens. And I also, again, because of the month of Halloween, I watched my favourite zombie movie, which is Lucio Fulci's Zombie Flesh Eaters, which is, again, has another great soundtrack, which is, I'm sure if I went back through
Fantastic
my canon
soundtrack,
of favourite horror films, I would probably find that, along with like Suspiria and these other great Goblin soundtracks, the music probably goes so hand in hand that I don't realise until I sit there and look back on it. But yeah, just
I feel like I heard some news about Suspiria. That I
it's
think
going to remake.
Yeah, it's going to. Is it a remake, or I thought it was being fixed or doing 35 mil or something? I don't know.
It has just been theatrically re-released in 4K in the States.
That will be it.
I think
Yeah.
it's getting a release over here as well. But yeah, there is a remake on the way as well with the Tom York soundtrack.
Really?
That's the best sounding part of that whole entire
Yes.
idea.
Yeah.
But the rest of that idea is awful. Just give me the soundtrack and I'm fine.
Well, I think if
But
you-
you don't need to remake that movie.
I really liked. Was it Black Swan? I can't remember
Yes.
the director, but that was almost
Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky, that's it. And it had elements of Suspiria in it, which I really admired. I don't think it needs a full-on remake, though.
No, because you won't be able to get anything like the original.
No, I mean, so much of that film is just Dario Argento's style and just the way it looks. The sort of colours of it are just fantastic, and it's not going to have any of that. It's just going to be...
there was something about that time when it was made as well that it fits perfectly too. And now you can kind of watch it and see a bit of comedy in it, but it's still horrifying.
Yeah.
But if they try to do it now, they're either going to go over the top with horror or over the top with the comedy side, and it's not going to quite get it, I don't think, unless something happens like Get Out with it. Maybe.
But as you say, Ben, as well, it's the Goblin soundtrack is another part of what makes that film.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And it was that, I think that soundtrack was a sort of big influence on like John Carpenter and loads of other soundtracks and musicians. So as much as I like Tom York, again, he's got his work cut out for him, because how do you top that soundtrack?
Exactly. And like I was going through, thanks to the beauty of Spotify, and after listening to that soundtrack recently, went through and listened to a load of their other OSTs of movies like Jennifer, which stars little Jennifer Connelly, which I've never seen, but is meant to be really good, like a horror movie based on that, and like these other movies called Contamination, and they're all brilliant. And so, before I've even gone and which I will check these films out because of like how good the Goblin soundtrack is.
I highly recommend Tenebrae if you haven't seen that. That's Dario Argento again, and that's Goblin soundtrack.
Yeah, and it has it has Justice, that band, the French band Justice. They sample the main theme of Tenebrae. Yeah, so I know that.
Okay.
I know a bit of that soundtrack because the Justice use it in one of their songs.
Did not know that.
Well, I've been watching a big lot. I was going to say a shitload, but I can't swear on this
A
thing.
big lot. It's just a great.
That works.
I love a big lot.
So I'm just going to rattle through them because most of them are rewatches, like Dodgeball, Moana, Date Night.
Love it.
I Love You, Man, which I
Love You Too, Man.
I do love. I love it. It's quite good. It's fun. Panic Room as well. Rewatching that, it's still really tense, man. Watching that one. Jodie Foster, it's a Fincher movie with young Kristen Stewart.
It's underrated. I feel like it's often not really talked about when people speak about Fincher, but it is very strong.
Yeah, and it's like Jared Leto's in it as well, and Forrest Whitaker. It's like really strong cast and terrifying. Well, if you're afraid of home invaders, it's terrifying.
I feel like it came out at the same time as something else.
It came out at the same time as Attack of the Clones because I went with a group of friends to see that, and I suggested that we went to see Panic Room instead, and they'd never forgiven me for it, which I think was the right choice.
Yeah.
I think Panic Room is the better of the two.
Yeah, thank you, because this is still a topic of debate, and Attack of the Clones is just one of the worst movies ever
I
made.
have not watched a single second of that movie.
I heard an interesting thing very quickly about David Fincher in an interview. So he was asked, why does he make his actors do so many takes? And he said, because you want them to look real. So he was like, if an actor's coming in and putting a bag down from getting home, he was like, you want them to look like they've done it 1,000 times. So sometimes it requires them to do it 50 times so they look like they've done it 1,000 times. And I thought, that's
a good point.
really nice and interesting, and like one of his ways of working. Yeah.
I also watched Knocked Up again, Happy Gilmore again, Jurassic Park, and Hook.
Nice.
I
What
was
a-
sick, so I was watching loads of movies. But the new ones I watched was Passengers, which I quite enjoyed. It was quite a nice little movie. It was fine. Nothing amazing about it, but I was
Good
enjoying.
CGI and all that.
Yeah, it wasn't
looked
bad
like a
actually.
really good
It was quite enjoyable. Like, it was quite a good storyline, and it's kind of like, what would you do in that situation? But it's not completely groundbreaking. But it looks pretty, and it's thrilling and annoying and nice. It's a good solid movie.
I started it, and I will finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one I watched was Why Him, which is the
I
Bryan
watched that.
Cranston
It's
one.
good.
I quite liked it. James Franco is really crass and funny and really lovable in it for some reason.
It's James Franco, baby.
Yeah, because you know how sometimes you can be annoying in movies because he does it too much.
Yeah.
But for some reason in this, it's really good. Bryan Cranston's really good. So it's a sweet movie, but it's a mixture between kind of like your Judd Apatow kind of things. It is a I don't know. Jonah Hill, I think, co-wrote it. But so it's kind of that kind of vein, but it seems sweeter than those ones usually do. I don't know. I also watched Sing. That was fine animation. No Moana, but I think it was because most of the songs were covers that they sing in them, and they're all very good. You know, good singing and that kind of stuff, and it was sweet. But I preferred Moana. I also, do you know what I found out? I've never actually watched Jumanji.
Classic.
No. So I thought that I had as a child, and I obviously seen parts of it. But as I was watching it, I realised I have never seen this movie in its entirety. So I watched it in its entirety. It's very enjoyable. It's not a kids' movie. It's quite strong.
dark, yeah.
It's quite strong.
I remember when my parents taking me to see it, and it was one of those times where there was a lot of moments where kids in the audience were clearly getting very frightened, and for a film.
What's the
of its
frightening
time,
bits of it? No
There's
spoilers.
like big
but-
spiders and
The spiders did seem quite fake nowadays,
Yeah,
but at the time, obviously, it would have been horrifying. But yeah, there's certain parts of it where there's monkeys all over the place. There's bits when there's a big flood in the house and it looks like they're going to drown. He gets stuck in the ceiling. There's lots of...
And he lost his childhood.
Yes, he
Robert
lost
Williams.
his...
He was gone for years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awful.
Yeah, he got sucked into a game and everyone thought he'd been murdered. And this girl, she didn't bloody say anything. She tried to, and no one listened to her. So then she was going through all this psychiatry and stuff, and then it turns out that she was right. And yeah, it's harrowing. Anyway, so yeah, I watched it for the first time in its entirety. Enjoyed it. I also watched Split, which is the James McAvoy one.
Oh yeah, I was going to watch that the other night.
It's really good. Like, he's brilliant in it. It's terrifying as well. I was tense the entire time. It's like a really good start, and it's really well paced. It's really
It's only
good.
like an hour and a half, isn't it, or something? It's
Well,
not.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that.
it's not too long. I looked at it and thought, I'll give
But it
that a
doesn't
go, yeah.
feel like it at all. It goes quite quickly. It's really nice pacing, and it kind of starts straight away, and it's really good.
On the outside, I just almost think, just wait until the nice personality comes into play and just let's help me out.
Can we go out for a walk?
Yeah.
So it's really good. I know I'm going through so many because I watched a lot. And then I also watched A United Kingdom, which is the Rosamund Pike one. It's based on a true story about the history of Botswana. Also very good, strong cast, strong story. It's obviously a true story. Yeah, really good. Recommend that one as well.
Oh, nice.
And I think that's my list. Everything is available on Now TV that I watched.
Good healthy list. Yeah.
I have a pretty short list anyway, actually. It's going with a light horror theme, starting with Cooties, available on Now TV.
We need to get like an overdub, which is like a really cool voice going, available on Now TV.
Yeah, we should actually. Pew, pew.
Why was he going pew pew?
I don't know.
It's
just
cool.
gonna
It sounds
say, yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Going 80s.
Sorry, fight the Concords on the brain.
And it was quite enjoyable, actually. It's a zombie, kind of a zombie film set in a school where kids kind of. If you are a fan of chicken nuggets, right? Just
I am.
give
This
the
body's
I am
built
not.
on chicken nuggets.
give the first 5 minutes of this film a miss. It will put you off.
But is it definitely
It
how
holds
they
nothing
make
back.
chicken nuggets?
Yes, do you know? If you do
Yeah,
not
you-
know,
you
just
I hope
Google
not.
it and watch it on YouTube.
don't. It's best not to know.
Because it's every part. So they put in a whole chicken carcass. It's not they don't cut off the bones or anything. It is the bones all mixed up in it.
Do they
all
keep the meat on it
emulsifiers.
as well?
Yeah, there's some meat, but not a lot. It's
Someone said it's all like arseholes and eyelashes.
do chickens have eyelashes? Yeah, but it's not pretty.
All right. Well, maybe I'll skip the first 5
Yeah,
minutes.
it goes through the process of how chicken nuggets are made with a few added bits, and it is awful.
And is the movie about like killer chicken nuggets then? That if you eat them,
Well,
Oh,
who
is
eats
that what
them?
causes it?
Well, yes.
Is that a spoiler? Or
It's a slight spoiler, but it happens within the first 5 minutes, so it's not a
so
really
not
massive
technically,
spoiler.
it's a plot.
Yeah,
a plot
it's a
point.
plot. Dodgy chicken nuggets send kids crazy.
oh, wicked.
Oh, that's good.
And
I
then-
like that. It's like a health story as
Yeah,
well.
and it's got a good cast. It's got Elijah Wood, and who plays Dwight in The Office? What's his name? First name.
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson. Yeah, he's in it as well. And and it's them trying to get themselves out of a school
wicked.
with crazy kids.
I love him.
He's brilliant.
He's
He
good in
had a
it.
show on Netflix where he played a detective, as quite a gritty, like unkempt detective. And I tried watching that, and it wasn't very good, to be honest. But other than that, I've liked everything.
I
he's
liked him
kind
in
of
The
done.
Rocker. It's like not the best movie ever.
What was the Super? That was really good.
Yes.
Super was
Super was
amazing.
And that was
good.
something that
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out like before Kick-Ass, and then
Yes.
kind of got compared to it. But it was really, really
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
And it was really dark as well. It's
Very.
Because I remember like, watching it, I was like, what the hell? 'Cause it was not what I expected it at
Yeah,
all when I
no.
watched that movie. I really
Yeah.
Is
and
it James Gunn? Did
Yes,
he
it
direct-
is.
Yeah,
It is.
because he started off making trauma movies, which are like these cult underground movies. It's a studio in New York, and they make these really cheap. Like,
They make some brilliant movies.
grindhouse movies,
Nuke 'em
yeah.
High
And that felt very much like a trauma movie, which was quite cool. And how he went from that to doing Guardians of the Galaxy is incredible. But yeah.
Again, like Peter Jackson, some
Yeah.
of the best some of the only interesting filmmakers. Not that Peter Jackson's that interesting anymore. In Hollywood, all start with those. Like James Cameron started.
That's why
on,
I really
like,
like. Have you seen The Frighteners?
Yes,
Yes.
filmed
That-
in New Zealand.
Yes, so that's a lot of fun, that movie, because I like the thing I like about that is because
available on Now TV as
It
well.
is,
indeed
it
it is,
Yeah.
it feels like a good bridge between his early work and his more blockbuster polish. It's like a just smack bang in the middle. It has the sensibilities of both, which I really like.
Do you know what I love about that movie? The woman that plays his wife, her name is Angela Bloomfield, and she used to be in our the biggest show on New Zealand television, which was Shortland Street.
Yeah.
And she used to be in that, and she played one of the receptionists. I think Kirsty was her name. No, it wasn't Kirsty. That was someone else. But she was in that. And so then for her to get into this big international movie, we're playing against Michael J. Fox. Like we were all like, yeah, go. And basically, any time you saw, because it was before Peter Jackson got famous with Lord of the Rings. So any time you saw New Zealand doing well, you were like, yeah. When Sam Neill got cast in like Jurassic Park, I was like, oh my god. It's like a party in the entire country.
Everyone goes to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know he was a Kiwi.
Yeah.
There you go.
So funny things like that. But that's why I know. But I remember The Frighteners terrifies me. It's the guy. It's not when he is with the hood and he's flying around.
Death. It's death and the numbers on
Yeah, the
people's heads. Isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But it's not the fact when he goes flying around with that. It's when he's the real person and you see his face and he has those really, really big, white, massive teeth. And I can always see his face, and it's the scariest face ever. And I'm still terrified by it. So when I watch that movie, I kind of have to make sure I'm prepared for it.
Well, it's another one that it's a comedy horror, but as it gets into its final act, it just goes full horror.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it gets
it's-
quite scary.
One of any other films Michael J. Fox has done that you would just say are straight up like adult films, you know? Because I'm trying to think. It's the only one I can ever think of where he's.
Casualties of War, the Brian De Palma
Yes, he did.
movie, which was a very, very full-on Vietnam movie.
where he's in Vietnam fighting.
Yes,
I've
yeah,
never seen
and
that.
I think Sean Penn's in it as well, but I can't think of anything else. It was a bit of a departure for him, The Frighteners.
What was that great film? Doc Hollywood. That was one of my favourite films growing up. Doc Hollywood. Yeah. He is like some big shot surgeon or something in the city, and he's driving through somewhere and crashes and they can't fix his Porsche. And so he ends up in this small town and helping out becoming a doctor. And he's like all high and mighty because he's from the city and knows everything, and then he kind of gets brought back to earth because of these lovely people. It's so sweet.
And then
I love it.
Like at the end, we're like, Doc, your car's been fixed. I don't need it. I'm staying here now. I've got the house on the corner.
There's some hot girl over there. I'm going to stay here. But it's great. If you haven't seen it, you should
I know,
watch it.
definitely check that
He's
out.
also in one of the best episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Which
yes, I watched it just recently.
Fantastic episode, yeah. Wonderful.
Oh, where was I?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were talking about
Michael J. Fox episode.
Sitting back, throwing my head back, yes. Michael J. Fox. Zombievers.
Oh, yeah. I started to watch that once and I had to turn it off because it was just so ridiculous. And the beavers slightly scared me as well.
Yes, but it's when the people start turning into beavers.
Oh my
No,
God.
I
Brilliant.
did finish it when she's jumping around in the room and she has these funny teeth and this massive tail that she's smacking on the... It's hilarious.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, think Sharknado kind of level, and Shark Attack, or Shark Attack 3, I'm thinking of specifically.
Shark Attack 3 is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Wow.
With terrible one-liners and just and just a terrible. It's a terrible film, but I couldn't take my eyes off it. And it's but yeah,
It's a great
I'd
idea.
recommend it. It is a great idea. Cape Fear also watch as well.
Original or remake?
Original.
Good,
so
good.
Well, what would you mean, the 50s original? Like starring James...
oh no, sorry, cut that. No, it was Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, okay.
Yes, so
91.
the Robert De Niro version, which was I thought was really good.
It's a solid remake.
Really, really good. And then I always though think of The Simpsons every time.
I think that's why it
that
goes
episode, that Sideshow Bob episode.
hand in hand. Like it's part of the reason why I like watching the De Niro Cape Fear is because it makes me think of The Simpsons.
Yeah, and I saw that Simpsons first actually.
Before watching the movie.
Before I actually saw Cape Fear, and every time I watch it, I think Simpsons, you've done such a good job.
It was originally going to be directed by Spielberg, which would have been a very different film.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, at the time, I think he was making like Jurassic Park, so it would have been a very darker movie for him. Although I guess that he was doing Schindler's List as well the same year, but that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah.
The original one, who's that?
Gregory Peck, no?
But who's the bloke? He's the bloke he's against. Who's
I always get it confused
he's
with
also in Night of the Hunter.
Night of the Hunter. That's
But
the
Robert Mitchum.
Robert Mitchum, who is, I went on a few years ago, went on a little Robert Mitchum kind of movie like discovery, and all of the ones where he plays like the bad guy,
He's brilliant,
He's
right?
absolutely brilliant, and obviously Night of the Hunter is brilliant. But the original Cape Fear, I remember I watched that first.
I watched the original first
and
as
then
well.
went and found this thing, and was like, it's obviously the new one's brilliant. I kind of preferred the old one, just
Yeah.
because it didn't need to do anything
Well, that's it.
to
I
make
think
you scared.
the power
seen
of the
them.
original is that Mitchum is just sinister and foreboding as is, whereas the remake has to do some quite graphic.
Yeah.
It has some unnecessary graphic scenes, I think, to make De Niro a bit more sinister, but it's not really necessary. In the original, it still holds up.
Robert Mitchum's last movie was a movie called Dead Man, which stars Johnny Depp, and it's directed by Jim Jarmusch. It's in black and white. It's a brilliant movie, and it was back in the day when I liked Johnny Depp, when he's actually very good at it. And it's got a guy in it called Gary Farmer as well, who plays an American Indian, who has some great lines. Like my favourite is, "You're going to have to bleep this, Steve," but it's stupid. It's got some great things, and soundtrack is all done by Neil Young, so it's worth it just for that. It's amazing. So I would recommend that if you can find that somewhere, because it's quite niche.
I will have a look for it.
Yeah.
If you've watched any other horror
I would
movies.
then I just kind of lightened it up with my regulars, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and Thor: The Dark World, preparing for Ragnarok. That's about it.
Preparing myself for a bad thought.
How was that? How was that? It doesn't get a lot of love these days. For the Dark World. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
And but by the sounds of it, it's that I think Ragnarok will move far away from it. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I used to live in Greenwich as well, so I always enjoyed the scenes. Kind of
The inconsistencies.
kind of flying around there.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fine. I mean, I just really liked the character Thor, and
I remember enjoying when it came out. I was quite surprised at just how much backlash there was.
Yeah.
It seems like as time's gone on, it's become more of a a sort of film that's easy to hate on. But
I'd rather watch that than Iron Man 3.
I still quite like the first Thor movie.
I didn't mind
Maybe
the
Iron
first
Man
one.
Yeah, I quite like that. It's just like a
loved
fish
it.
out of water comedy. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
I loved the first one. Yeah.
I
Because it
think-
wasn't directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like another massive name that slips into that Marvel universe,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're
It's
just
so
like,
funny.
Like, so all-encompassing
Yeah.
of everyone
Yeah.
that's been big in the last 30 years will at some
Have
point
you-
have something to do with the Marvel.
Have you guys got any like directors that you'd like to see work on a Marvel movie? Who hasn't yet?
Mine is on Thor Ragnarok, so
Mm.
I've been preparing for Thor by watching his movies.
Yeah.
I saw his first. I think it's his first movie. Just got re-released or released for the first time in the UK.
What, Eagle versus Shark? Or the short film, something Alone in the
I
Car at
remember-
night.
I'm not sure, but I remember seeing an article saying that it had never been released in the UK. Like when it came out, they decided not to release it. But with Thor Ragnarok, they've now
Oh, weird.
now
I like
decided to give it a
Eagle
release.
versus Shark.
It's a great movie.
Great film. Directors I'd like to see. I mean, obviously, I guess by now it's got to the point where you just want to see someone turn it on its head.
Yeah.
And so you'd say something
Yeah.
like Lynch, or you'd say something like even Brian De Palma. I'd like
Yeah.
to see do.
I think that's the thing for me is that they're now where they're going into. Is it phase 3? They're in now. It's like any chance you've got to have a big personality come in and shake things up is good.
I'll probably go with De Palma as well.
Yeah.
Actually, because almost like with characters like say Black Widow and things like that, like you can probably
That needs to happen.
with no kind of powers, you could have just a real kind of like a real spy kind of focus, kind of
Yeah.
a bit like Mission Impossible 1, which I really enjoyed. This real thoughtful kind of script. And
I'll tell you actually,
Something like that.
James Cameron. Like if you're going to let everyone do big blockbuster, let the king of the big
He's too
blockbuster.
busy with Avatar
Yeah.
2, 3,
And I feel like his Wonder Woman
And Terminator now,
comments-
because he's jumping on.
Which is filming in March, I think. I read somewhere saying it was going to start filming next year. So that's
Yeah, I watched an hour
Yeah.
interview with him and the guy who did Kick
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know that it sounds great what they're doing.
Mm.
I mean, like all great things, though, starting at 2 again.
Yeah, and
Like
I
all
feel
great franchises.
a bit annoyed where you had Cameron doing that video, which is now infamous for Genesis, where he said it's the best, it's the sequel they always wanted to do and all this stuff, and it's like, you liar, it was awful. But yeah.
Kind of talking, or to go back to Spielberg, there's a great documentary this weekend being the 29th of October. It's called Spielberg. It's going to be on Sky Atlantic. It's a great HBO documentary. So if you have an Ents pass, I would really recommend watching that one. And it's got on 30-day catch-up as well. So you'll have until the 28th of November to watch it. So almost the full month. There you go. And to go back to Taika Waititi, was it Boy?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because both Eagle versus Shark and Boy are very New Zealand, and Boy especially, I think. So maybe that's why they didn't. Because I was really annoyed when that got released, and because it was at like the New Zealand Film Festival, which obviously isn't a very big thing, but and I think it was actually at the LFF, but then it never got a general release, so I was
Right,
really
okay.
upset by that. And so when I was in New Zealand, I did watch it when I was there because it's like,
Well, I mean, it seems like, and we'll probably talk about it next month, but it seems like Thor Ragnarok is, proving to be one of the sort of everyone's new favourite Marvel movies. So I think, it'll be interesting to see what's next for him. I even think he may, end up doing some more Marvel movies if it's recent interviews have sort of to be believed.
well, the I don't know if you guys pay attention to New Zealand news, but they've TVNZ has commissioned basically a What We Do in the Shadows TV show. So it's a spin-off from that, because it was originally a short movie, which then they made into a feature length, and now they're making it into a TV show that's going to air in New Zealand. So I don't know who's going to have that in the UK, if anyone, but I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Have they said with the returning cast?
Yeah, so Jermaine's in it as well.
Oh, wicked.
And
Well, they're all great. Even, I don't know. I guess the little guy is an Australia, a New Zealand actor.
yeah.
Like he's awesome in it. Like it's really nice when you obviously watch it because you're that's Jermaine.
Do you know what
But
was the
everyone
most
else makes you laugh.
The
like-
most exciting thing for me was when I was watching it, and there's the girl that Taika Waititi brings home, and then they're on the sofa, and he's got putting the newspaper down.
Oh yeah.
That girl, I went to school with her, and she was in my drama class.
Wow.
Her name's Kura Forrester, and so she's in
I forgot.
movies
I
now.
forgot the other the other mate they have who lives downstairs, the Nosferatu. I forgot how brilliant that is.
I saw that the Flight of the Conchords tickets just sold out.
Oh my God.
In like seconds or whatever.
I was so upset. So I had
Yeah.
I had the website open from 9 o'clock, and then it got to 10. Pressed the button, and like gone. It's like, but it's been 20 seconds. How is this possible?
It's the O2, isn't it?
So there's one show at the O2 and 2 shows at Hammersmith Apollo. I even tried the Birmingham tickets, and they're sold out.
Even Birmingham.
Well, I'm sorry, but for me, it's a bit of a hassle to get to Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, that is...
Show you the sites.
That's crazy, but at the same time, it's like, it's been a long time, right, since they've went to go see... Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing to go and see that, I guess. But.
Yeah, maybe we should start talking about some other things now, because we've
What
realised that we're
else
just
has been going on?
waffling on and on. So what's coming up this month is... it's quite a nice month. There's a mix of everything for everyone. So on the 3rd, we've got 50 Shades Darker.
Something for me.
Yeah, sequel to 50 Shades of Grey. Then on the 4th, we have the Hatton Garden Job. On the 5th, it's a Arnie movie called Aftermath, Aftermath, depending on your accent. I am in between.
Aftermath.
Yeah,
That's how he'd do it, I think.
Yeah, Aftermath. I don't know if he actually says it. It's my favourite thing in movies when they say the name of the movie. It's like, yeah, they said the name of the movie. I don't know why. Anyway, on the 10th, it's Assassin's Creed, which is the computer game movie that I didn't have great reviews, but I want to see how it is, because I've never played Assassin's Creed, so I'd quite like to see if you don't know the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a convoluted story. They've got, I don't know how they're going to put it into one movie, but
they haven't used. It's the same kind of concept, but they haven't used the characters from the game.
It's inspired by, but does its own thing.
Yes, and technically the story does allow you to do that. So you it's about ancestry and stuff. So
yeah, well, because I think we've talked about it before. You know, video game movies never do so well. But anyway, on the 17th we have The Great War, which is a Matt Damon action movie set in Asia.
Yeah, I'll be watching that because I love it when they take something historic and then dump a load of fantasy into it. I'll be honest, I loved it with 300. 300 was great, and it was those hinted at scenes in the kind of weird baddies camp that had goat-headed men and weird things. It makes me go, actually I think I love this film. It just hinting at weird stuff.
There is something about that movie. I don't know what it is. On the 24th, we have Collateral Beauty, which is an all-star cast. I think it's kind of got missed a little bit at the cinema, but it stars Will Smith, Helen Mirren, Kate Winslet. I think Keira Knightley is also in it, plus Edward Norton. It's a huge cast. So it's a drama. Then on the 25th there's Escobar Paradise Lost, which stars Benicio del Toro as Pablo Escobar, and that's based on a true story as well. And it's got I think his name's Josh Hutcherson, who was in The Hunger Games. He played the other one that that went into the game.
Is he the one who can put makeup on and look like a tree or something?
Yeah, that's the one.
What a skill.
yeah.
And then we've got some great returning libraries. So we have the original Jack Reacher on the 22nd.
I love that film.
Okay, and what about Liar Liar on the 18th?
I don't love that film, but that was a lie.
On the 8th is Calendar Girls, and on the 14th, the Polar Express. Do you love either of those? You're undecided. Anyway, now it's time for our favourite segment, which is the random movie of the month. And we were tasked with watching... Well, it wasn't really a task this month, but it's Team America World Police. How many times did we watch it, guys? Just the once or more?
This month, just once, but it puts my total up to probably somewhere around 10, 15, I think.
It was nice. It was great to revisit it because it's been a while. I remember when it came out, I bought the DVD and just watched it so much. But it'd been a while since I watched it, and it still holds up. It's still just as funny. And even though some of the gags are slightly dated now, some of it feels more topical than ever.
I know. I was watching it going, oh my God. Instead of it being Alec Baldwin, it's Donald Trump doing the speech. But it's just not like Alec Baldwin was just eloquent at it. And I could just, if you replace the voiceover of the puppet as bing bong, bong bong, bing bong, it's Donald Trump. Oh my God, this is how we're all going to die. But yeah, so I took it a bit too seriously by the end there.
But like, having just been watching the new series of South Park and checking out that game that they've just done to do with South Park, and it's just so nice to see like how they're so relevant. Even that film is still like kind of, you know, I mean, I know it's really old, so it's weird to say it's still relevant, but like kind of is, and like it's still so funny, and like it's nice to see their evolution of their comedy, but also how it. Like,
I think they must be some of the hardest working people in comedy as well, because like every episode of South Park they've been involved with, where if you look at something like The Simpsons or Family Guy, the creators stick around for a little while and they kind of go off and do other things, whereas they've stuck with that from beginning to end, and they've done all these other things at the same time, like Team America and Book of Mormon, and all of them have been fantastic in their own way. So yeah, I think you know, Team America, it's a shame that the production was so difficult that they've said they're never going to do another film. Hopefully one day we'll see something else, but yeah, it still holds up. It's still so much fun.
It's brilliant. It's so cute, and it's just so funny.
And it's so ridiculous at some point.
It does that great thing as well, balancing the satire with just silliness. Like that opening scene where you've got the kind of big showdown and it's just the kind of flapping puppets. It's just,
that's that great thing, because it like they direct it so well that, like, you know, in those lead up scenes they can do the dramatic shots, and you're kind of like, and then they always remind you that it's just puppets bouncing around, and it breaks you back to that. And again, it's one of the best consistent jokes that they have going for, along with, and like, just, I'm sure it would have been brought up soon enough, but just along with like the music, which like I remember watching that film and then listening to the soundtrack for like months after it. The music is perfect in every way.
Yeah,
of it.
It reminds me of when like one of my first apartments here, actually. Like the jokes still hold up, because like it just reminds me of like all the phrases that used to kind of go around the department, and people. It just brought me right back, right back to there. I'm pronouncing all my L's as R's. Hello.
I love that everything is fair game as well with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It's like it's often offensive, and it's quite easy to be offended by it if you want to be. But at the same time, anything goes. It's like not one sort of group or person or anything will be focused on. Everything is fair game to be made fun of.
And I do like how they do that with all the destruction of all the cities and everything. Like, yeah, we're coming in and we're saving the day. And you know, because like, when you watch an action movie, it's exactly the same. But then like there is no repercussions. Like there's no police or like, and they go through these big car chases and they destroy everything. And they just completely ignore the fact that they've destroyed an entire city, but they're actually doing something for it.
It's an incredible scene in, I think it's Bad Boys 2, where at the end there's just like this car chase going through this favela of all these like kind of homes, and all of them are just being destroyed. And at the end of it, you're just kind of thinking, how many people have they just killed? Like, why are we not focusing on the amount of people? Like, and I love that about it. That it makes fun of that whole, as you say, like the destruction and just ignoring all that. It's just great.
Yeah, just I don't know why, but I just like the facial expressions of the puppets as well. You guys can't see it, but you guys can. But it's just
but it had that thing, because like at that time, it kind of America was seen as that, wasn't it? They were going into these countries assuming that they were solving it all, and like it did it. It brought it to life so well. So
many of the celebrities as well wrote them angry letters, which is again, it's just like. It's hard to believe that people just can't take the joke. Yeah, it's like they took themselves so seriously they got so upset about it, which is.
I would have been like, I can't believe someone went to the effort of making a little puppet of me.
Yeah, it's like, can I get the puppet?
Yeah, really accurate ones as well. Yeah. Sean Penn and Samuel L. Jackson were really good.
I think it was Sean Penn was the angriest.
Yeah, he was.
He wrote them a very angry letter, which it's just like, why?
Especially those two who have no interest in learning or like taking it off, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right, you guys ready to find out what this month's movie is?
Oh, yeah.
It's not so bad, actually, if you like Clint Eastwood.
Oh, Any Which Way But Loose?
No.
Space Cowboys?
No. I said it's not that bad.
Lethal Enforcer?
No, think about the ones we have available on Now TV.
What are we? Is it directorial Clint Eastwood? Or?
No, acting Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
90s.
Oh, I know what I'd like it to be.
No.
That's what I'd have loved it to have been.
Think presidentially.
In the line,
Line of
in the line of
Fire?
present danger. No, in the line of.
Well,
Line of Fire. Line of Fire.
And you started it, and then you had it, and then you lost it then. But yes, In the Line of Fire.
Oh, I love that film.
Yeah,
That's
I've
a
not
great-
seen that for a while.
No spoilers. Like we've all seen that, haven't we?
Yeah, is it John
It's
Malkovich?
it's the wooden gun, isn't it? He builds a wooden gun.
I've
to
not
shoot
seen
the
it for a
pre-
long time.
Yeah.
I have seen it.
Plastic.
Or is it plastic? I thought he
Oh, it
built.
might be wooden.
I think he built a little wooden gun. I think that's a great film.
And does
Yeah.
he kill some in the woods with it? Maybe I'm thinking of another film.
Maybe.
I often get it confused with.
How about we just watch it?
It always blurs into the kind of later Dirty Harry films for me, whereas like he was getting older and it was a bit strange. But yeah, it is good. It is a good movie.
Yeah, so that's what we get to watch next
Wicked.
month. I'm so confused as to what's happening. Not in general, just what
Where am I?
month. Just what month.
Is this a podcast? Who are you, love?
Oh, stop making me laugh, Jesus. And coming up next month in December, we've got our massive Christmas premieres, including Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Beauty and the Beast, the Lego Batman movie, John Wick Chapter 2, The Boss Baby, and Hidden Figures, just to name but a few. So it's going to be a massive month in December, so loads to look forward to. And it's festive season, so it means Christmas is coming.
I'll bring the mince pies, guys.
It's a nice poem. Great. So have a good month, everyone, and happy movie watching.
Yep.